नमस्ते।
नमस्ते सर।
हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया।
थैंक यू सर।
We have started the chronic miasm with referred by Dr. Allen. So, in last lecture we discussed about some basics of soda and pseudo soda. We have taken one lecture about this topic. Now, today the miasms and their relation to pathology. This is our today topic. The miasm and their relation to pathology. So, what is the importance of the miasm in pathology? There are two schools of homeopathy. Just first you try to understand. After that you can write down. So in homeopathy there are two sorts of school. That is, one belongs to pathological and another is symptomatic. Means one school belongs to Richard Hughes and belongs to Henningham's teaching. Richard Hughes was born in 1836 and died on 1902. He was a converted homeopath. He was a allopathic physician. There are some contradictory notions of Dr. Hughes with the enemy. So he was a student of homeopathy, student of enemy, but in some points they disagreed with Hahnemann's teaching. So he developed his own notion about the approach of medicine, selecting of the medicine, potency selection, etc. So Richard Hughes' teaching is known as pathological and Hahnemann's teaching is symptomatic. He advocates low potency. Hahnemann advocates higher potency. Materialistic and non-materialistic. Chemical and dynamic. These are some basic difference regarding Richard Hughes' approach and Hahnemannian approach when considering the disease. Richard Hughes considered the pathological conditions and the result of the disease. They say about when selecting the medicine, our approach should include pathological symptoms along with the symptoms of the disease, but more consideration about the pathological conditions. He tried to explain us that our medicine should cover the symptomatology. What pathology was produced during the drug probing by that particular drug, right? He wrote the Cyclopedia of Materia Medica. Also write down the pharmacodynamics. Dr. Clark was a very sincere student of Richard Gouges. So there are some basic difference about the approach of Hahnemannian and Richard Gouges approach. And also he advocates using the lower potencies below than 6, 3, and Dr. Hahnemann uses higher potency. Higher potency in the sense at Dr. Hahnemann's time 30 is also a higher potency. So Dr. Hahnemann advocates us using potencies from 30 to higher. But he denied it. Why? Because he considers the pathological condition. And also Dr. Hahnemann says about it, when we treat the pathological condition, we should use lower potency. Materialistic approach regarding the selection of the potency and regarding the study of the drug. What is the pharmacodynamics? To study of a drug, what drug creates changes in our body during drug probing. When we administer a drug, what it creates changes in the body during process of probing. So this is the study of drug. And the chemical and the dynamic. Dr. Richard Gouges clearly denies the theory of vital force and theory of soul. He says in a simple way that our selection of drug should match the similar symptoms, but essentially we should consider the pathological symptoms of the case. There is no vital force, there is no. So his approach basically relates to the materialistic standpoint. So actually there is some misunderstanding in Hahnemann's approach and Richard Gouges' approach. Now, all of you getting this? But in today, only Hahnemann's approach are advisable only. Because Dr. Hahnemann never denies about the pathological conditions, but he includes the symptomatical approach. Dr. Hahnemann advises to take the minute symptoms, subtle symptoms of the mind, of the will, of the understanding, Homeopathy is a subtle science. Subtle means in a Hindi the word is very सूक्ष्म minute level पे we have to understand person at minute level, at subtle level means the innermost part of our brain, our mind. We have to understand person at mental level, at subtle level, the inner core of the emotions, of the feelings. We have to understand to treat person in the disease. Minute feelings also, expressions also, his will understanding also. हम ऐसे ऊपर से देख के हम मेडिसिन को सेलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते. What is the inner feeling of the patient is very important. In our case taking 2-3 days back, we take an example of taking case. Actually, what are the intention of the patient of saying this? What are the reason behind it to complain? कि पेशेंट आ रहा है हमारे पास में बोल रहा है तो हमें ये मेडिसिन नहीं बनानी है उस पर. Just we have to make rubrics and prescribe medicine on the simple statement of the patient. We have to understand what are the reasons behind it, behind the statement. What are the possible reasons? Why patient comes to us? It is very important to understand what the patient concern, object, what is the motto in his mind. We have to understand. So this is subtle in this reference. Are you getting this point? To understand person in the disease, understand man in disease. If we consider only the pathological aspect of the disease, then there is no value of mental symptoms, physical generals, and mental generals. We are recognized that there are two distinct schools of homeopathy, yet very few of us are willing to admit the rest. You can write down. Just I want to write down you some important lines in this paragraph. There are two distinct schools of homeopathy, but very few of us willing to admit the fact that the name homeopathy should cover every phase of that school and every conception of the different teachings in vogue today. In vogue, VOGUE, प्रचलित. These are sometimes designated as the false and the true. False and the true. Pathological and symptomatological. The materialistic and non-materialistic. The chemical and the dynamic. The scientific and non-scientific. The high potency or low potency. So this is our first paragraph. In this paragraph, we understand the Hughes approach and Hahnemann approach to understand the disease. Right now? Okay? The fact of the matter is this. First you understand, then write down. The fact of the matter is this: when Hahnemann promulgated means to promote. Dr. Hahnemann promote homeopathy, promulgated the science of homeopathy, and made it public to the world. It was then a very complete. Since and although he had not brought out all the minor details as clearly as we see them today. Means when Dr. Hahnemann worked and complete the discovery of homeopathy and formulated the principles of homeopathy, then he exposed this science to the world. It was nevertheless a comparatively perfect since for he had formulated it all under law, and that law stands today the same, just as sound and as scientific as any law ever discovered by man. So Dr. Hahnemann, the basis of homeopathic science is the lectures of law. This law cannot be broken, cannot be tormented. This law, it was effective at the time of Dr. Hahnemann and is also effective at the present time and will be effective in the future. Our medicines works on this law in the past, in the present, and in the future also. So, this law we can't break and torment it. It is applicable in all disease conditions. This is just what a part of our school had done or has tried to do. They have attempted to convert this wonderful law or set of laws to their own meaning and to their own way of thinking. Dr. Hahnemann just developed this principle, but contemporary, there were many physicians who tried to tempt or break this law according to his own convenience, such as Dr. Heyman advises in first, second, third, fourth, fifth editions regarding the selection of the potency, regarding the mode of administration of the medicine. But there are many physicians who disregard this law according to his convenience. Like that, Dr. Hughes Hahnemann teaches that the remedy given in each case should be the one that has been proven in each particular case to be able to produce symptoms as like as possible in the healthy individual. So there is a very clear cut indication, understanding that we have to prescribe only those medicines we have the knowledge about the indications developed during the proving of that particular medicine. We have to match the similarity of the disease and the symptom of the medicine. That is only simple way of prescribing the medicine. We are to understand by symptoms that all the deviations from health, all morbid phenomena found in the organism with their conditions of the change and the concomitant circumstances which we perceive or conceive with our senses of those of the patient. That only the symptoms are the only indication of selecting the remedy. There are no other way of prescribing the medicine. Only we have to notice the altered state during the sickness. That's only the confirmatory perfect way. In other words, the totality of the symptoms is all that there is to disease when considered from a therapeutic standpoint. So that is the importance of the symptoms, importance of the totality of the symptoms. This totality of symptom is only sure way to reach the minimum. Now herein lies the departure which draws a distinctive line between the false and the true, sometimes called the physiological school for physiology. Physiology is the science or theory of function and changes in healthy bodies, while pathology has reference to the diseased body. Therefore, it must be called the pathological school. So now what happens here? Dr. Hughes takes the totality of symptoms. Dr. Hahnemann also takes the totality of the symptoms. Now the evolution part is different from these two schools. That is, Dr. Hahnemann considers the symptoms at certain level. That is the mental generals and physical generals, and gives the importance to mentals and physical generals. Not consider pathology. And here he considers the pathological symptoms, pathology of the disease. Here is the basic picture. All the process of getting the symptoms, taking the case, all are same, but here Dr. Hughes takes another way of selecting the minimum, and Dr. Hahnemann chooses the another way. Are you getting this approach? Have you understand clearly? Thank you. I have to take a little break. Being